Welcome to the channel. My name is Reni. I'm a pagan from the beautiful country of the Netherlands. This week for me was very busy. It was very hard to find some time to make a video for the channel. And I'm not saying that like in a victim-y kind of way, like, oh, my life is so terrible and I'm so busy. I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining. So because of that, today I'm going to combine two activities. First of all, I'm going to shoot this video. Second of all, I'm going to drink this beer. So I will be multitasking tonight. And they say that men can't multitask. I mean, shit. I'm multitasking right now. Close. It's been a tough week. But that doesn't mean you guys should like start praying for me and start like burning incenses and start burning candles, because I said, in general, I like my life. So I don't need any pity. But if you do decide to burn a candle for me, I hope you do so in your very own personal altar. Because yes, that, my friends, is what we are talking about tonight. Personal altars, I will discuss some archaeological data. I will discuss the history of personal altars for you. And I will, of course, also work towards the end where I will tell you my thoughts and my feelings and why I believe what the true purpose is of a personal altar. Because I've spent quite some time and quite some years standing in front of an effigy on a place in my house, praying and making offerings. And I think in this video I can distill all those experiences into some nice sentences of lovely insight. So the ancient Romans, our pagan ancestors, they had home altars, because that was the first question that I asked myself with home altars. Most people have one, and I have several. I'll talk about that later. But are we doing it right? Is this a new pagan thing? No, it's not. In ancient Rome, most houses had a space to honor the spirits. They called it a lararium. Lararium, that's probably what you call it if you pronounce it in English. It came from the word laris, and it meant house spirit. So what these places look like, and we know this from excavations. They even found one like when the volcano came in Pompeii. They found a couple who was like really intact, and it's just like a plankier, and they found some incense and some incense holders and some candles and some gold cup, and sometimes there was a painting behind it, a sort of effigy. And the ancient Romans, they used this just to honor the spirits of the house and sometimes also the ancestors. They found similar things in Egypt during certain periods. That they also had like very specific places in the house where they would honor the spirits, but it was also the spirits of the land or the ancestors. In Egyptian times, it was a woman's task. It was her job to take care of that sacred space in the house. And even in Scandinavia, like in Sweden, they had, I believe it's called a nis. And this is a practice that, of course, was eradicated in Christian times, but here in the house, they worshipped and prayed to the first owner of the house. They prayed to the guy that first built the house. And they even had a tradition of going to funeral parties and just asking him for advice when they had trouble living on the house. Funny thing is, the word nis, we also have that in Holland, but it's kind of like a architectural term, a nisje. So I'm not sure if those two are related, that we automatically pray to a house spirit in the nisje. Because a nisje is often just like, I don't know how to translate this, but it's a small area which is kind of churchy. Lots of old houses still have an nisje, which is just a cozy little area. But You know, probably Christians use that also for just the effigy of Jesus or the Virgin Mary, or probably because it was used in olden times, you know, possibly for the house spirit. So those three examples I gave you, Sweden, Egypt, and Rome, wait, they pray to the house spirits and the ancestors. But I'm on a couple of those pagan WhatsApp groups, and a lot of you show your altars like a lot and proudly. Thank you all for doing that. It's a lovely little insight. And what I see most of the time is effigies of like the gods. So like our ancestors did, like house spirits and ancestors, and we just do God. Does that mean that we're doing it wrong nowadays as modern pagans? I don't think we should think of it in those terms. I mean, traditions always change, and paganism can be fluid and can be changes with us with the times. Could also be that, you know, we're just looking for like the highest, and we think the gods are like kind of the highest, and that feeling of searching for the highest is maybe still a little bit of a Christian thing inside of us. That could be the part. Could be that we're all just like somehow affected by the Marvel movies, which is ironic because I'm wearing a Marvel shirt right now, which is kind of cringe and bad timing of me, but hey, synchronicity, baby, it happens by accident. So I don't think we're doing it wrong, but I think we could do it better. And I mean that in the most loving way. Because I know some people who have like special places where they pray and offer to the spirits of the land, de geesten van het land, of the ancestors, de voorvaderen. But they're not a lot. Most of you just do the gods. I think paganism will be better if we also like honor the spirits of the land and our ancestors a bit more. And as I'm really talking to you about this, I'm just realizing like, my altar setup at the moment is like this. I used to have just one, but now I have one altar for the gods, but that needs to be redone because they need some more space. And I also have like a separate altar for the spirits that are associated to me for my cider magic work. And then I also need one for the spirits of this land where I'm just sitting in right now to honor them. And I need one for the ancestors. So I'm talking to you about personal altars, knowing full well that I haven't gotten all of my personal altars in check. Okay. You know, we teach what we need to learn, and then we teach until we know it. I think the saying goes like that. The big question now is, why do you have a personal altar? Let me know in the comments. Why do we have a personal altar? Some people I've asked and they say, just, you know, so I can feel the gods, so I can honor the gods. And there's no right or wrong answers in this kind of thing. I just ask and out of curiosity. But this is why I think we have an altar. This is why I think that I have an altar. Yes, we're coming to the meat and potatoes of this video now. There are only two states in this world. There are only two states in the human body. One is being connected and one is being disconnected. There's nothing else. When you are angry, you are disconnected. Think about it. When I'm angry, I go, I tense up and I close up and I close my heart. And below that anger, there are probably some disappointment and some tears and some things that I can't accept. But when you're angry, you close off. When you're anxious, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And in your anxiousness, you close off. When you're depressed, even more, you close off. Every dysfunction in your life can be summarized of one of being not connected. On the other hand, all the good things, all the healthy, all the lovely, and all the loving things can be categorized of staying in connection. And it's also possible when you feel like bad emotions, when you feel angry, when you're able to share that, when you're able to connect, when you don't close off and you go like, oh, I'm just like ashamed that I feel that way. When you just talk to a friend about it. You seek that connection, and when you get that connection, you are no longer disconnected. Maybe you have somebody who shares your frustration. Then you're connected extra with that person and you are no longer disconnected and the dysfunction ceases to exist. Okay, nice story. How does this relate to a personal altar? Well, let me tell you. Most people say they do it to honor the gods. Well, I say you do it to connect with the gods. Well, does that mean that the gods actually show up when you put your altar there? Well, we can offer, but it's up to them if they truly accept. But I believe that you can always contact that energy, that godlike energy, without them truly being in the room. So you do it to stay connected to the gods. And in our lives, it's always the question. Well, it's not the question of if life is going to be difficult. The question is when it's going to be difficult, because it will happen to me, it will happen to you. I read somewhere that an average life has a crisis every 7 years. I think that's about right. So our lives turn to shit from time to time. That's being human. And what happens, you can lose so much. You can feel that the whole world is against you. And what happens is you start closing off because you feel like you've lost everything. But if you have a home altar, like you have and like I have, you can always, in that sacred space, you can light that candle, you can burn that incense, you can open your heart in that place so you stay connected. And by staying connected, you help yourself stay healthy. So even if the whole world is against you and everybody left you and it's just you, and you have every incentive to just close off, having a home altar makes sure that somehow your heart is open and you stay connected. So I also hope that in the troubled times that undoubtedly will come in the future, or might even be knocking on your door right now, that you stay connected. If you want to stay connected with me, you can, of course. And if you'll do that, I'll see you next week for another video on the Dutch Pagans channel. Ga met de goden en tot volgende week. Hmm.